we were going to Home Depot, but that's where we were supposed to be going. And she said, we need to go to Slidell. And I was like, oh my goodness. Is anybody in here from Slidell before? Okay, never mind. But the very first time when I reconnected back with her, I went there, you know, and somebody called, and I heard her say, what motel? And I was like, and then it just kind of escalated, and then Mark called, and she was like, I'm going to get her. And Mark was like, you can't go by yourself. And she said, I have Amanda. And I was kind of like, this is day one. I'm in a dress and flip-flops. And I just kind of look at her, and Mark says, you can't make Amanda do that? And she said, you good, huh? Yeah. Let's go. For once, Mark had the most amazing advice. He was like, you are not going there without me. And I was like, oh, thank you, God. But now, I'm ready to go kick a door in. It don't matter. Yeah, I'm ready. But I do wear tennis shoes now every time that I go with her. Real. So, after Melissa shares her heart with us, I just really felt led to take up a love offering for True Freedom, because there are so many needs that they are trying to get met. And we'll do that at the end of the service. But they're hosting their first golf tournament fundraiser in March. And our goal is to raise enough money to expand the sober living community, provide more housing. They need transportation. Hardly any of these people come with vehicles or anything else for that matter. And they drive their personal cars packed in trunks and everything else to get people to meetings, to places like this. We need an outreach center where people can go and we can be just better equipped to meet immediate needs right at that moment. And we can't do it alone. We need people to partner with them to get all this met. I found an article today, and a statistic was in it that said in St. Tammany Parish, their rate of opioid overdose deaths in 2017 was 6 times higher than the entire state overall in St. Tammany Parish. That's scary. That's a staggering statistic, and they have 5 homes right there in St. Tammany Parish where they house about 50 people, and they are saving lives every single day. And I'm just so tired of meeting these people and then hearing of funeral arrangements 2 and 3 months later for them. So we're determined this year to open more houses, but the housing is not all they do. When I tell you they give out of their personal income for medicine, gas, clothes, transportation to rehab. They don't even care if you come to their sober living house. If they don't have a bed, they will go to wherever and bring you to wherever there is an opening. It's not just about Freedom House. And like Michelle said, there is a Facebook group. If you don't follow it, please do. It's at True Freedom Resources. There are 6,000 people within that group that is just for networking. And they also have a rescue team, which we have a private group message for that. But they get on there all the time. I need somebody to pick a guy up in Baton Rouge. I need somebody to pick a girl up in New Orleans. And they are on it like that. So if you're on that rescue team in here, can y'all just stand up? There are many of them. There's not many of them here tonight, but there are many of them. And what I love is all of these have been picked up at some place before. So they're giving back. And it's just our way of giving back into the community. So having said that, I've got a short little video I'm going to play, and then, come on now. Well, you can watch it, look. Or you can just turn around and see, watch.
probably played a part of my recovery, guys. And there's ones in here that life wouldn't be life without them, you know. My family's here in the front row. I thank them for being here. Except my husband, he's on the second row. And I don't know how I'd do life without you. But my people that I wouldn't be who I am today without you guys. You know what I mean? And I love each and every one of you with all of my heart. We'll start with, you know, when I was a kid, everything was good. My dad was a police officer. My mom was a teacher. We went to private schools. You took a vacation every year. I mean, like, great family. My mom and dad are still together. In high school, I mean, nothing happened as a child. I had no trauma, anything. High school, we partied a little bit, and I probably partied more than Michelle. A lot more than Michelle. A lot more than Michelle. I did. Like, that's what we did. We went out and we drank and we had fun on the weekends. But before I graduated from college, the only thing I've ever done was smoke weed. Like, that was it. No drugs in my life. I had Liam at 21. I had Liam at 21. I was still in college, working, doing what I was supposed to do, and I was with their dad. Their dad was 13 years older than me, so I was 19 years old, and my dad had a problem with that. My dad had a big problem with that. So that's when, like, trouble may have started to come into it, because I lied, and I was still seeing Roland, and I got pregnant with Liam, and I failed that semester of college, and here's Roland writing letters to the dean trying to keep me in college because I'm lying to mom and dad, right? So this is when life starts to get a little chaotic, I guess. And I have Liam, and when I had Liam, his dad was not home. So that was really hard. It was really hard because I missed him, and I was pregnant, and I was only 20 years old, and it was just a lot to go through, you know? And so I had Liam, so here I am, a kid, waiting tables, going to college, thank God for mom and dad. Landon comes along, Roland comes home, everything's normal again, and when Roland came home, Roland was not a happy camper. Things had happened in his life that was hard on him. And so that's the point, I believe, where we started experimenting a little bit, experimenting in drugs. He had a management position in a restaurant and became very popular, and we started, you know, just ecstasy. And we're old, y'all. We're not like these kids that are out there doing ecstasy. We're a little bit older, have 2 kids and everything. And so we start with ecstasy, and then we started a little bit with cocaine. One day the cocaine dealer didn't have cocaine, but had crack cocaine. And that was all she wrote. That was all she wrote, y'all. I smoked it, and it brought me to a place where I didn't care about anything. We had some things going on in the family, and it was a lot on me. It was a lot on me. And when I did this, I didn't care about anything, okay? So it took all my problems away. It took all the hurt away. It took all the pain away. I didn't care about those kids. It took everything away. Those boys, I've done things like drop them off at their friend's house and not go back and get them. Landon had separation anxiety at 8 years old. If I turned the corner at the grocery store before he did, he freaked out. Like, it was bad. I disappeared on him time and time again. I went to Teen Challenge probably 10 years ago. That's where I met my husband. He was my choir director at Teen Challenge. And we didn't have anything to do each other for years, y'all. He was just the choir director. I had to correct him a couple times while he was up there because he had a word in the wrong spot or something. But that's where I met Mark, and so I'm in and out of rehab, y'all, and Teen Challenge a whole year, right? Why can't I get this right? Why can't I do this thing? I'm educated, you know what I mean? If I could do that, why can't, Mark, y'all, had so much control over my life, like a little bitty pebble-looking thing. Like, it was insane to me. I couldn't figure out why I couldn't get it right. Excuse me. What? Sorry. I'm about to was so dry, it was horrible. Okay, and so I'm in and out of these rehabs. I can't do it. You know, I go to my mom and dad. I'm like, I'm walking out of these rehabs, and I know that I got it. Y'all, I know in my heart and my soul, I'm going to do it this time. 4 days later, I'm smoking crack. Like, what's going on? I know you remember that one, Dad. And so I'm in and out of these rehabs, and I can't get it right? Well, finally at, I don't know, 5 years ago, that would make me about 39 years old, I'm messing up really bad again. You know, Roland was my enabler, y'all. Like, I could go there no matter what. Mom, Dad, Michelle cut me off like that. He would not cut me off. Yeah, it was. When I started using it again, it was like that. Anyway, you can't talk. Anyway. If I started using again, they were mad. They're not talking to me, and I'm not calling them because I don't want to hear what they have to say. But Roland, on the other hand, no matter what. No matter what. Which kept me sick a little bit longer than I think it should have. So I kept going on this waiting list for ADU, which is a treatment center in Vanderbilt. And I'm going on the waiting list, and before it was my turn, I would disappear and go use again. I'd go on the waiting list, and I'd disappear and go use again. Well, he's getting mad. He's getting really mad. So finally, I leave for about an entire week. And that wasn't me, y'all. I was a binge user. I would go out for a few days, and I'd come back and sleep for 2 weeks. And I'd go out for a few days, and I'd come back. It wasn't like this constant thing, but I left for an entire week. So when he finally got me after that time, I'm sorry, let me back up a minute. When I keep missing my bed, I keep getting stopped by the police in Covington, okay? Same guy. He must have been working that area, right? He's stopping me. He's like, Melissa, you don't have to live like that. You don't have to do this. You know, he's like, it's such a nice guy. He must have either Facebook stalked me or something, because he'd say, where's Liam and Landon right now? When he would stop me again, right? Where's the boys at right now? So I'm sharing with this police officer that I'm on this waiting list. Like, and I need to go, and I know I need to go, but I don't want to go because then I got to look at myself again, right? Yeah. So he feels bad. He don't stop me for anything. All he does every time he sees me and says, there's a program with the police department called Operation Angels. And all you have to do is walk into that police department, and we're going to help you. Like, no questions asked, no nothing. Just walk into that police department. So while he's getting mad, while Roland's getting mad because I keep disappearing and not doing what I'm supposed to be doing, I'm like, but you have to, this police officer told me about this Operation Angels thing. So he's on a computer freaking out trying to find Operation Angels. And so that time that I left for a week, he had already had it set up with them that I was going to go there. I walk in, and it was his senior year. It was his senior year, and he was playing his first football game for his senior year. And I said, Roland, please let me go to the game. He said, Melissa, Liam doesn't want you at that game. You're not going to that game. So, I go to the police department, you know. Like, y'all, football is my life. I know I left some of that out of there, but my boys play ball, and it's what I live for, it's what I breathe for, it's what I did. So missing a game, and then I had to miss the other games coming because I went to treatment, was like, y'all, that's like stabbing me in the chest. So I go to the police department, and the chief of police actually comes down, okay? He comes down, and he's like, we're here for you. This was his heart and soul, right? Like, I went and had lunch with him the other day, and he said, out of everything I've ever done the entire time I was a police officer, you're my best. You know what I mean? He's like, I worked some major cases and all this, but what happened with you is the best thing that I've ever done since I was a police officer. And it's amazing. Look, I'm laughing. So, I mean, it was touching. It's touching. But I walked in those doors, and he's going to be at the golf tournament, and you'll hear his little spiel, what he says before I go. But he says, I was a shell of a woman when I walked in those doors. I remember being angry. He kept being so nice to me, and I wanted to get out of there. I didn't want to be there. Like, just bring me where I'm going. They got somebody from Serenity Center to come pick me up from the police station. Roland's like, I'll bring her. They're like, no, you're not bringing her. So they had somebody come and pick me up. And I hadn't slept in days, right? I hadn't slept in days. So I get in the car with this girl, and she's yada, 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 you know, all happy and stuff. And I'm like, can I just sleep, you know? So I go to treatment. And while I'm in treatment, y'all, they say, you're going to go to sober living. I'm like, I ain't going to no sober living. I'm not going to sober living. And so I called my dad and I called Roland, and they both said, no, you're not going to sober living. You're coming home. My dad's exact words, and I'm sorry I'm going to say this, but he doesn't think this way anymore, was, you are not going to live with those kind of people, right? Because in his eyes, I still wasn't those kind of people. You know, we all know today that I'm y'all's kind of people, and I'm grateful for it. And so they keep pushing it in my head the whole time I'm there. So I'm like, this is my thought. Okay, I did 30 days, and we know that doesn't work. Let me go do 30 days in a sober living house. That'll be 60 days, double the chances of working, right? That's what, in my mind. That's ridiculous if y'all really think about that. But in my sick mind at the time, that's what I thought. It did. You know, you're still trying to play games with your mind and everything else. So I go to sober living, and 3 weeks being there, I'm the house leader, okay? And what they did was I could not go home for 30 days, right? They had a contract, you gotta stay for 30 days before you can go back to where you're from, or sleep out or anything. So in 30 days, I was so eager to go get my boys and see my boys. And I go over there, and I get this dark cloud over me when I get into Covington. Dark, like you're not supposed to be here. It's not time yet, right? Yeah. And so I don't even stay that night. Like, I visited with them, and I went back home. I told Roland about it. I told the kids about it. We all decided. They even came up the next day to come see me because I was sad that I couldn't stay. So then I say, in my crazy head, okay, the holidays, it's like October. The holidays are right around the corner. I am going to go until the holidays are over. I'm going to go till the holidays are over. That's a crazy time for people like us. And so the holidays come and go, and it's still not time, y'all. And it wasn't till the next year, in June, that I moved back home. He's getting ready to go away to college. I'm freaking out because I need to go spend some time with my baby. Not that we didn't see each other. They came to Baton Rouge, I come to Covington, but it wasn't the same as being with my baby. He's getting ready to go away to college. I need to go be with my baby. So I call Covington, and I'm looking around for a sober living house. And no offense to Oxford, y'all, but I'm going to tell y'all my thoughts at the time, okay? I love y'all, and it's not my thoughts now. But when you come from, like, a very strict place that I came from, like, Oxford was, like, a step down, you know what I mean? Like, I wanted the accountability. Like, they had, you know, they could sleep out whenever they wanted, and it was, like, way more lax than when I came from. And here I am going back home to where I come from, which is scary. I wanted something just as strict as where I was at, right? I know I need that accountability. And we know the family don't know how to hold us accountable. They just don't. So I call my dad, and I'm crying because I can't, all they have is Oxford in Covington. In St. Tammany Parish, all they have is Oxford. I'm not going to Oxford. I know Oxford is amazing. Callie's over there, and she's rocking life now. And I know it's amazing today, but at that time, that's what was in my head. And so I call my dad crying. I'm sad. I want my boys so bad. I know I can't go back and live with Roland and the kids. That didn't work all those years. Like, I know that that is not the situation I have to be in. Roland and I split up like 8 years, and I still lived with him and my boys. Like 8 years, he had a bedroom, I had a bedroom, we did family stuff together, but that was absolutely it. And I knew that was holding me back from finding happiness. I knew it was holding him back from finding happiness, being with somebody else. So I knew that wasn't an option, right? So I call my dad, and I'm sad, I'm crying, and he says, and the whole time I was in the sober living house, he's telling me, I'm telling him this is my calling. I was a house leader. Then we moved to a mansion, and there's 22 of them, and I'm a house leader over 22 of them. Like, I know that God put me in that situation because this is what I was supposed to do my entire life. Now, what upsets me is I didn't hear about sober living until that last time, until I was 39 years old. But I guess he wanted me to mature first. So, and I'm still not there all the way. So, my dad, you know, and I'm crying, and I'm upset. I'm like, Dad, I don't know what to do. And we had been talking about it the whole time I was up there, like, this is what I'm doing with my life. And he said, go find you a house. I got you first $10,000. A year sober, okay? A year sober, here's the deal. I do go back to Roland's house while I'm looking for this house, right? I'm going to spend as much time with Liam and Landon as possible. And I'm driving across the lake to go meet my mom at the bank. I don't know where my dad was, but I'm going to meet my mom at the bank. And she is transferring $10,000 from an account in their name, a year sober, y'all. with a checkbook and a debit card in my hand. I'm driving back across the bridge and I'm like, they got to be nuts. Like, I can't believe that they just did this. Like, oh my God, all it takes is a bad day. What did they just do, right? It was crazy. So it took us about 4 months to find the first house. And I questioned my calling during that time because we're going from house to house. I mean, we would see 4, 5, 6 houses a week. I mean, you don't understand. Me and my sister, and it was just crazy. And no, nobody wanted to lease a house for what we were doing. And so we just kept getting no's. And I was like, Dad, maybe this isn't what I'm supposed to do with my life. You know, I'm going to God. Like, I know this is what you told me to do. But why is this being so difficult? And a lot of times he likes to just see if we're going to persevere, right? What are we going to do, right? Are we going to give up when the answers don't come immediately? We can't, y'all. So finally we get a yes. And it's not a house that I want. Like, I was like, Michelle, I was mad. I was like, Michelle, I don't want that house. She's like, we got a yes. We got to get a name for ourselves. So that way, when we go to get more houses, we can say, look, here it is. This is what we're doing. And I was so upset. Y'all distracted me so. So I was so upset, y'all. I was so upset. And so we opened this house, and I thought I knew what I was doing. Like, I really thought I knew what I was doing. And I didn't know what I was doing. And then I got all these girls in this house, and I'm calling Miss Denise, which was the owner of the other house that I lived in. And I'm like, oh my God, what do I do about this? Oh my God, what do I do about that? It was a mess. It was a mess in the beginning, y'all. It was a mess. My husband's son passed away about, is it 3 years, May? 4 years in November that just passed. And there was a girl that I got into treatment, because even when I didn't have my own houses, guess what I was doing? Exactly what I'm doing with just a whole bunch of other houses, right? And there was a girl that I got into treatment that I went to Teen Challenge with, and she had dated Mark way back when. And I hadn't talked to Mark in 7 or 8 years. And she calls, I get her into treatment, and her mom calls me, you know, maybe a week after she was there, and said, Mark's son died. And I knew this was going to hit Melissa. I knew this was going to be something that was going to be major for her. She lived with them, helped them raise them, everything else. So her mom said, I don't want to call and tell her over the phone. I was always in Baton Rouge. I was still hanging out in my own sober living house when y'all were still living there, you know what I mean? Like, it's what I did. I would leave my sober living house to go to my old sober living house to hang out, right? And because I did live with the girls in the beginning. And so I went there and I told this girl, Melissa, that Mark's son had died. And I knew she was going to be upset. And Miss Denise, again, the lady who owns the treatment center, said the only way she could go to the funeral is if her mom or myself brought her. And her mom couldn't because she had work. So I drove to Baton Rouge and I went and picked up this girl that I went to treatment with and brought her to Mark's son's funeral. Again, I haven't seen Mark in 7 or 8 years. And it was sad. It was sad. My heart broke. My heart broke for him. Something happened that day at that funeral with us being together today, you know. And not long after that, a few weeks, he requested to be my friend on Facebook, and we would talk about, that's how it happened, Facebook request. It was so good, y'all, it was so good. So we would sit on the phone. He was living in Shreveport, and I was living in Covington, and I mean, we talked for quite a few weeks before I went up there, and I don't know what happened, y'all, but I'm not a giddy person. Like, the last person that made me giddy was probably Roland, right? And that was 20-something years ago, and I had friends in my life and stuff, but like boyfriends, it didn't happen. My living arrangements wouldn't let it happen, you know? So, I don't know what happened, y'all, but there was some giddy stuff going on all in my heart and all this other kind of stuff. And he knew it, and I'm trying to like deny it, right? And he's like, we're going to get married one day. I'm like, shut up. I don't even know you. You know what I mean? And he's still in Shreveport, and I'm in Covington. And what we would do is every other weekend we'd take turns somebody going somewhere. And I don't know what happened, y'all. I don't know what happened. But it happened. But it happened. Let me tell y'all, the first time I went up there to go visit him, like we were talking for weeks on the phone, and one of the first few days that we were talking, I sent him this dessert that I wanted if I ever met him, if I ever went up there to see him, right? And I go there, and I mean, it was weeks ago that we talked about this dessert, y'all, and I go, the first time I go up there, he has the stuff to bake all the dessert, and he baked it. You know what I mean? He's amazing. He's amazing. And he came into my life, and my heart broke for him, y'all. Still, like, you got to realize it's only a couple months since his son passed away, right? And I'm talking to him about how we have to find him a grief counselor and all this other kind of stuff, because I know the newness of the relationship helped it, but that was going to wear off. And then he was still going to be stuck with this grief, and that's exactly what happened. But anyway, before I go there, we wanted a boys' house, and I couldn't have a boys' house because I'm a girl. But I kept getting boy calls. I kept getting calls about, hey, do you have a boys' house? Do you have a boys' house? And y'all distracted me again. And so I kept getting these calls, and Mark's still in Shreveport, right? And so it's probably a couple months into it or whatever, and I'm like, hey, I don't like this long-distance relationship thing. And he's like, how long? 4 weeks. 4 weeks into it. 4 weeks into it, y'all. And I'm like, I don't like this long-distance stuff. I want a little bit more of your time, you know? And so he says, okay, I'm coming to visit you, and I have a surprise. The next time I said that, and he moved to the Oxford House in Mandeville to be closer. Yes. And so we had this open house, and we had announced that we're looking for another house, in the house right around the corner from where we were, where the two girls' houses are now. I know a lot of y'all are familiar. We get a call that house is becoming available, so we made that a boys' house. And that was a big mistake because we had the girls and boys right by each other. Lesson learned. Lesson learned. So very quickly after that, we're like, oh my God, we need another house because we can't let this happen. So we got Drum Street. We got to separate the boys and the girls. And all in the midst of all that, this relationship is butterflying. And when I tell you about butterflies and rainbows and Care Bears and sprinkles and unicorns, like I don't know what was going on in my life. Like I was like, y'all, it was sickening. If you have anybody that was in the house when all that was going on, when it was really good in the beginning, where's Carl? He's not here. Okay, but if anybody like that, my mom and dad, Michelle, like Michelle would say, I'm jealous of your relationship. Y'all was so amazing. And then it got real. We got married and it got real. We got married and it got real. And my best friend in the whole world, y'all, I couldn't survive without my husband. But we made some bad choices and we relapsed together in the midst of these houses being open, okay? Here we are, disappeared, gone. Be quiet. So, they didn't know about that part. I don't have to say that part. Okay. So, I'm trying to stop. Y'all really distracting me. Y'all not allowed to sit in the front next time. So, we relapsed together and we were gone for a good month, y'all. It was bad. Like, I'd never left for a month. Like, I can't hang with my husband, okay? I am not that kind of drug addict. I'm like, hey, we going home yet? He's like, tomorrow. When we going home? Tomorrow? It's the next day. Hey, let's go home. Tomorrow? I don't want to leave them out there. They're calling me. They're all upset. Tomorrow? Finally, I couldn't do any more tomorrows, and I looked at him, and I said, hey, it's been about 30 days that I've been out here with you. I can't live like that. I'm going home. And he said, okay. I said, all right, call me when you're done. He wasn't ready. I swear y'all couldn't hang. Like, I'm done. I'm tapping out. And Mark said, all right, I'll give you a call when I'm done. And I left. It was 4 o'clock in the morning. I was going to Roland's house, because where else you go when you mess up? You go to Roland's house. Mark knew that's where I was going. We were supposed to go there together, but he wasn't ready yet. So I called Roland at 4 o'clock in the morning, and I'm like, hey, I got to come over. And he knows I've been missing and everything, right? And he's like, hurry up and just get here. And I was like, I got Ziggy. He don't like my dog. He don't like the dogs in his house. I got Ziggy. And he's like, okay, just bring his kennel. You know what I mean? Like, he was freaking out. I remember falling asleep in the car about 3 or 4 times on my way from Baton Rouge to Covington, where Roland lived. And I got there, and my kids saw me like that, y'all. My kids have never seen me high, but they see me ratchet. And my kids were there, and I was sleeping on the couch. And I remember him whispering something to his dad about, is she okay? You know what I mean? Like, that's what they had to worry about. I remember one time sitting on the couch at Roland's house way long ago, before all of this, when I lived there. And I was just laying there, and I'd just coming back from one of my sprees or whatever. Roland's at work, and I hated when he came back home for my first day home because, oh, he was mean. Oh, he was mean. The kids would be like, oh, don't worry about him. You know what I mean? And Liam came and sat on the couch, and he's rubbing my legs, rubbing my feet. And he's like, Mom. And I said, what? He said, do you know how you tell me I can do anything that I put my heart and mind to? And I said, absolutely. And they can, y'all. My boys are amazing. You know, just amazing. Anything they put their mind to, they do. And he said, Mom, where do you think I got that from? He's like, I got that from you, Mom. You can beat this. You can fight this. And there was a lot of moments like that, y'all. When the last time I relapsed, like, we were talking about somebody relapsing, and the last time I relapsed, he said, if you ever relapse again, I'm not talking to you. And I relapsed. Mark and I relapsed, and I called Roland to tell Roland so he can tell the kids, or however we're going to handle that, because I had to go to treatment. And he said, I said, Liam's never going to talk to me again, you know? Like, I was panicking about that. And he took Liam to eat, and he said, I'm going to take Liam to eat. We're going to Texas Roadhouse. That's where they always go. And I'm going to tell him, I'm just letting you know that this is getting ready to happen. And I said, okay. And he called me on the phone, and he said, I love you. And I said, I love you too. And I said, do you want to talk about it? He said, no, I can't talk right now. He hung up on me because he didn't want to cry, y'all. He didn't want to cry right there in front of his dad. And when he gets to his car, he calls me again. And my 20-year-old kid just bawling on the other line because he doesn't know what else to do or say to you. Like, bawling, like, heart-wrenching. He's crying right now. He's disappointed, y'all. He's disappointed. I've disappointed them so many times in my life. Like, I've hurt them. It's disgusting. I can't even think about it. It's making me sick. Landon, the most forgiving kid you would ever think of in the entire world. He's not going to hold it against you. He just wants you to get better. Liam, too. But at that time, like, I was scared to tell my kid I relapsed. It's like scared to tell your parents that you went out or something like that, right? And it was a bad relapse. And so we come home, and Mark goes back out there and back out there, and I'm dying, y'all. Like, I can't get control of my husband. And I have people in this room that personally came to my house and prayed with me while he was out there, right? Because I'm just getting back, so my mind's not right neither, right? And I want to go back out there and get him, you know what I mean? Whatever happens. And Amanda's at my house praying. Kimmy's at my house with Jeff and Lori. Jeff and Lori were my lifeline. Like, I called them day and night. Like, I couldn't breathe. I couldn't eat. I didn't know what to do. I just wanted him back. And when he came back, y'all, our lives changed. Okay? We went to Blake and Angie. We went to church there. The night we came back, we went to church there. I'm telling him he has to go back to Teen Challenge for a year. He's telling me that he only needs a 30-day rehab. I'm mad. My mom and dad are saying, you make sure he gets in somewhere. You make sure he gets in somewhere. So we go to Blake and Angie's church, okay? Because Rise Up wasn't happening yet. We go to Revive and Rise Up. But we go to Revive because that was where we were planted. That we went to the pastors there. We went and sat in their room after, and him and I agreed that whatever they say is what we're going to do. And because that's what the Bible tells us to do, right? When you don't know what to do, you go to the elders of the church, right? So that's what we did. And they look at us, and y'all are mad at him. Mad at him. I don't want to look at him. I don't want to touch him. I'm angry, right? And they look at us and they say, oh, he doesn't have to go anywhere. He knows what to do. And I'm like, oh my God. I don't tell my mom and dad, tell my mom and dad this. And my mom and dad are already mad at the whole situation, right? And but that's what they said to do. They said, for us to be accountable to a church and Mark to work one-on-one with either Blake or you know what I mean, somebody to make sure he's accounted for. He don't need to go to treatment. He's done it. We just seen him do it. We just seen him shine, right? Y'all, something changed in Mark and I when that happened. When we have Revive and we have Rise Up, we didn't have that before, y'all. We didn't have people to pour into us, okay? 5 meetings a week I required everybody to go to, right? When I had to do my 5 meetings a week, church didn't count for one, okay? 5 meetings a week, AA, NA, Celebrate Recovery, Revive, Rise Up, church, right? Something happened when Revive and Rise Up came into Freedom House, right? Something happened when Jesus came into mine and Mark's heart. Something happened, not just with me and Mark, y'all, but with the houses. Like, it was amazing. The morale and the love, and I don't even know how to describe it, y'all. Freedom House was once a sober living house. It was. It was a sober living house. People came in and out, still living ratchet lives. Nobody's really holding anybody accountable with their language and stuff. Like, we hold each other accountable with language today, y'all, in a sober living house. We hold each other accountable in the way that we're speaking to one another. We hold each other accountable in some behaviors that are not right. And everybody in the houses, well, most of them, some of them get a little attitude, but everybody in the houses know that when your sisters come into you with something, that it's because they love you. Freedom House isn't a sober living house anymore, y'all. It's not. It's a community. It's a family. It is. I want to better be able to explain it to y'all. I thought the words would just come tonight, but they're not. Y'all, when Amanda came back into my life, like, okay, she saw an ad in a newspaper about Freedom House, and she calls him and she says, I want to get connected. You know what I mean? And I'm like, well, come on. Come on. You know, and then we have all these people from the churches now that we go to all the time that want to be connected, that want to pour into these people's lives, right? It's the most amazing thing, y'all. What we have now is just, I couldn't live without it. I mean, like, I couldn't imagine life without Freedom House. I couldn't imagine life without Adam and Gigi. I couldn't imagine. I couldn't imagine what my life would be without them. I couldn't imagine, like, my marriage, y'all. I'm not supposed to still be married. Y'all don't understand the stuff that happened during all that, okay? There's no way that I'm supposed to be married. There's no way that I'm supposed to love that man right there. Like, there's no way but God. Right? But God. Like, the things that he has done in my life. Like, y'all, I'm a crackhead. I love it, y'all. I like, this was my life. Would you look at it now, though? Would you look what God has done? Like, God has, the blessings. Like, look what God has done. And not just in my life. Y'all distract me again. Not just in my life, but in everybody's life, y'all. Dean, stand up, Dean. Every Monday night, Dean leaves his 36 house, and he travels to his 8th Street house over there, y'all, and they have a Bible study in their house. Like, nobody makes them do these things. They sit down and they truly have a Bible study and get into the Word of God. Where's Brian?
Right here.
Brian, stand up, Brian. I know you need this. Brian goes to Church of the King, okay? Brian goes to Church of the King, and they're doing this really cool 6-week Bible study thing. And he brings it to us, makes a big old group message, and who wants to be involved in this? And there's like 10 or 12 of us that meet at that church every Wednesday night for Bible study. Like, y'all, the houses are feeding each other, right? Not even and we're so grateful for Revive and Rise Up because it's where it all started. But now they're planting into the new people that are coming in, right? Like, it's